From Mumbai University, I welcome all of you TYBA BSc Geography student. This is topic third, pollution, and we will start the second part. The second part, which is will start from the water pollution. We have seen the types of pollution. The concept of water pollution. Okay, the water pollution is an act of contaminating the water bodies such as river, ocean, lake, stream, then aqueous, the groundwater. It occurs when the foreign harmful material like chemical, waste matter or contaminated substance and directly or indirectly discharged into the water bodies. The presence of these harmful materials has a sufficient quality in the water measurability degrades water quality. Therefore, any alterations in the chemical, physical and biological water properties qualified as a water pollution. Then the types of water pollution. Water resources like a huge occurs, lake, rivers are called a surface water. The most obvious types of water pollution affect surface water. For example, a split from the oil tankers create an oil streak that can be affect west area of the ocean. Not all the earth west sides on the surface, however. A great deal of the water is held underground the rocks or structure known as the aquifer, which are the cannot be seldom things about. Water from underground in the aquifers is known as the groundwater. Aquifers feed our rivers and supply much of the drinking water, surface water and groundwater, and the two types of water resources that pollution affects. These are also the direct ways in the pollution can be occurs. If the pollution comes from the single location, such as the discharge pipe attached into the factory, it is known as the point sources pollution. Other example of the point sources pollution include an oil split from the tanker, or a discharge from the smoke sticks, factory chemical, or someone providing oil from the car down a drain. So the causes of the water pollution, that is the sewage. With the billions of the people are on the planet disposing the sewage waste in a major problem. According to 2015 to 2016, the figure from the World Health Organization, some 663 million peoples, mean the 9% of the world population don't have access to suffer safe drinking water, while 2.4 billion, means 40% of the world population, don't have a proper sanitization hygienic toilet facilities. Although there have been a great improvements in securing access to clean water, so relative the little progress has been made and improving the global sanitize the last decades. Sewage disposal affects the people, emanated environments and leads the water release illness such as the direct and that kills means 5 lakh 25 children under the 5 each years. In developed countries, most of the people have flush toilets that make the sewage waste quickly and hygienically away from their homes. Yet the problem of sewage disposal does not end there. When you flush the toilet, the wastage have goes somewhere, and even after its level of the sewage treatment works, there is a still wastage to disposal of. Sometimes sewage wastage in a pumped untreated into the sea. The theory sewage is completely natural and subsistent, that the sow should be broken down harmlessly in the environment. 90% of sewage in the water and prescribed sewage contains all kinds of chemical from the pharmaceutical drugs people take to the prepare the plastic and other wastages. This is a flash down their toilets. When the people are teach the viruses or the sewage, they proudest carrier those viruses into the environment. It is possible to catch the illness such as hepatitis, typhoid, cholera from the river and seawater. So then agriculture runoff, nutrients and agriculture of runoff. Sustainability treat as the use of moderation quality sewage can be fertilized. It is returning importance nutrients to the environment such as the nitrogen and phosphorus which plants animals need of growth. Trouble is sewage is often released in a much great quantity than the nature environment can be cropped with the chemicals, fertilizers, and farmers also add the nutrients to the soil which drain into the river seas and add the fertilizing effects on the sewage. Through the sewage, the fertilizers can be cause the massive increase in the growth of algae or palanquethon. This overwhelms a huge area of ocean, lake or river. This is known as a harmful alga bloom, also known as an HAB red tide because it can be turned into the water red. It is harmful because the remove oxygen from the water that kills other forms of life, leading to the what that known as the dead zone. So in this way, the industrial influenced a few statistics illuminate the scale of the problem that wastewater chemical wasted down the drain and discharge from the factories can be caused. Around half of all the ocean pollution is caused by the sewage and western water. Each year, the world generate the farmers 5 to 10 billion ton of industrial waste, much of which the pumps untreated into the rivers, ocean and other waterways, factories and point sources of the water pollution. So domestic waste. Lot of water is polluted by the ordinary people from the non-point sources. Non-point sources. This is how the ordinance water become the waste water in the first place. Virtually everyone ponds chemical or one source sort of another down to the drain or a toilet. Even the damages use the washing machine and destroy water elements even up the out of rivers and ocean. Highway runoff. A lot of toxic pollution also enters the wastewater from the highway runoff. Okay. So the highway are the typical covered with the crocodiles or a toxic chemical. Every day for the split fuel and the brake floods are the bits with the wrong tides. And then exerted emissions with the rains. This chemical waste into the drain and rivers into the is not a usual for the heavy summer rains to it's a wash the toxic chemical into the rivers in a such concentrations that they kill the large number of fish overnight. So it has been estimated that in the 1 year the highway runoff of a single large city lakes are much oil into the our water environment as a typical tank split. So chemical waste. Detergents and relative mine subsistent at the opposite end of the spectrum and the highway toxic chemicals such as the polyethylcleaners that is a PCB. There will be one wide use of manufacture electric circle bonded by, but there is a harmful effect have been recognized as their use higher restricted in many countries. Nevertheless, an estimated 500,000 tons of PCB, which is discharged into the environment during the 20th century. In the classic example of the tons bonded pollution tracks, the PCB have every been found in the birds and fish and in the Arctics. In this way we can say, so these are the radioactivity waste. People view the radioactivity waste in a great alarm, and for the good reason. At the higher encourage concentration, it can be killed in a lower concentrated. It causes the cancer and other illness. Oil pollution. So when we think on the ocean pollution, huge black oil offer a spring on the mind. Yet these spectacular accidents represent only a thinner fractions of all the pollution entering our oceans. Even the consideration of the oil by itself, tanks, fleet, and are not as significant as they might seem. Only 12% of the oil that enters in the ocean come from the tank accident. Over 70% of the oil pollution at the sea comes from the rotation, spinning, and from the other people pour down the drainage on the land. However, what makes the tanks fleet and distract in a three quality of the oil is released at once. The concentration of the oil that product in one much localized part of the marine environment. The biggest oil split in a recent year occurs when the tanks Exxon Valdez is broken up in the Prince William Sound in Alaska in 1989. Around 12 million gallon, 40 means the 44 million liters of the oil were released into the Friston wildlife. So in this way, these are the examples. In this way, these water pollution is to be happen. Then the plastic. Plastic is the one of the most common material used from the making the virtually every kinds of manufactured object, from the clothing to automobile parts. Plastic is a light and folds easily, so it can be travel enormous discharge across the ocean. Most of the plastic are not biodegradable, means they do not break down naturally in the environment, which means that the things of like plastic bottle tops can be survive in the material environment for a longer time. A plastic bottle can be survive an estimated 450 years in the ocean, and a plastic fishing line can be leased up to 600 years. While the plastic are not a toxic in a quality the same way, the position chemical that nevertheless present a major hazards, and seabirds, fish, and other marine creates. For example, plastic fishing line and other debates can be strayed or cooked splashed. Then the impact of water pollution. So health aspect on a water quality, that is the first impact of water pollution. Water pollution advisorily affect the health and life of a man, animal, planets, ling, polluted water, also harmful for agriculture and in adversary effect of the crops and soil fertilizer pollution, so sea water damages and the ocean life. Consumptions of the polluted water is a major cause of its health in India. Polluted water causes some of the deadly diseases like cholera, dysentery, then the jaundice, etc. About 80% of the stomach diseases in India causes by the polluted water. Effect of organic pollution on the water quality. All organic material can be broken down decomposed by the microbial and other biological activities. The organic and some of the inorganic components exhibits the biochemical organization oxygen demand, that is BOD, become the oxygen is used in degradation process. Oxygen is a basic requirement often along all aquatic life. Aquatic life is adversely affect is a sufficient oxygen is not able in a water. Typical sources of oxygen pollution are the sewage from the domestic animal sources. Industry is wastage from the food processing, paper mills. So these are the sugar industries and agro-based industries. So then the C, which is the effect of nutrients on the water quality. Water supports aquatic life become of the pieces of the nutrient in it is. Here the primary focus on the fertilizing the chemicals such as the nutrients and phosphorus. All there are the importance for the plant growth. Too much nutrients encourage the overbanded of a plant life can be result in environmental damages called anthropications. The can be occurs the biotic microscope level in the form of alga in a microscope level in a form of aquatic weeds. So D, which is the effect of high dissolvable solid, that is TDS in water quality. So water is the best solvent and can be dissolved a large variety of the sustainable which comes into the contacts and amount of dissolvable solid in a very important consideration that determine is suitable for drinking, irrigation and industrial use. In general, wasted with the total dissolve the solid of the less than the 500 milligram liter or a liter and must be suitable for drinking purpose. Higher quality of dissolve the solid may be lead to impairment of the physical social process of a human body. So then the next one is the effect of the toxic pollutants of the water quality. The toxic pollutants mainly consist of the heavy metal prescribed and other individual extrinsic pollution. The ability of the water body to supply the adequate life as well as the sustainable for other use depend on the many track elements. Some meets that is MNZA. So these are the elements which is impact on water pollution. Then the measure of water pollution that we will see the measure of water pollution. The measure of water pollution, the precipitate responsible under the fertilization, minimize store water runoff, filter runoff, then the content split, protect cubic index damages. So we can take individual action to help the reduce the water pollution by using the environmental friendly detergents, not providing oil drowned drains. So on. We can take community action too by helping our on beaches clean a little peak of keep up the rivers, seas and little bit cleaner. So the next is the land pollution. So land pollution and concept of land pollution. The land is being polluted and abscess constantly, but we unable to calculate the damages incurred. We must collective better land pollution. Land pollution means the degradations of the destructions of the earth's surface and soil, directly or indirectly as a result of human activities. When the solid or a liquid waste material are disposed on the land or underground in a such manner that is the contains the soil and threat public health is known as the land pollution. Usually the occurs when the waste is not a disposable of the properly. Moreover than the humans throw the chemicals into the soil or into the forms of pesticides. So insecticide and fertilizer during the agriculture, the polluted of the land. Exploitations of the minerals through the mining has contributed the destruction of the earth surface. So then the types of land pollution. There are different types of land pollution. Following are the for the mains is a one is the solid waste. Okay, all the different kinds of rubbish found at the home, school, hospital, market, workplace make a solid waste. Things like paper, plastic, contents, bottle, canals, food, even use of cares and broken electric goods, broken furniture, hospital waste are all example of solid waste. Some of these such as the food dropping paper, products as well as the vegetation like grasses and twig of a biodegradable which is other are not and their included plastic material and aluminates can be broken computer cars parts etc. Then the environmental pollution and the land pollution. So landfills stay the thousands of years. This bring the great harm of the land and the people around it. Then the pesticide and fertilizers. Pesticide and many farming activities apply fertilizer and pesticides and insected a higher crop yield. No doubt there is an increase the yield, but sometimes increase the small animals are killed and breech animals that eat the thinner animal are also harmed. Moreover, when the chemical are washed down when it's rain and end up to the water table below, hence the causes water pollution. That is the next is the chemicals. Fourth is the chemical and the nuclear power plants product waste material that have to be stored somewhere. The fertilizers in strictly prescribed pharmaceuticals manufacture also product lots of solid liquids waste. In many causes there are stored in an environment safe. Why? But there are some that find their way into a landfills and other less safe strong facilities. Sometimes they also find their way into the lacking pipes of the gutters. They aid the polluting soils and making crop harmful to our health. And the last one is a deforestation. Trees absorb carbon dioxide from the air. Inert and the air and oxygen provide the wood of the humans and habitat to the many land animals, birds. These tree replace the soil and help the remain nurturing being washed away. We have cut down the trees for wood construction, farming, mining purpose without planning a new tree bag. This is a type of land pollution. Then we will go to the causes of land pollution. Land pollution is caused by the both natural factor and human activities. Below are the some sources of the land pollution. That is one is natural factors. Natural factors means the natural factors that causes soil erosion include the volcanic eruption changes, rainfall pattern, earthquake, topographical changes, wind, glacier movement. Natural factors of the soil erosion like rainfall, wind, topographical, etc. All feature increased by human activities. Then human activities. Soil pollution is further increased by the human activities. Some of the human activities and the causes of land soil pollution include the following. First, A is deforestation and soil pollution. The main factors of a land pollution are increased rate of the soil erosion caused due to deforestation. Deforestation carried out to the create a dry land in one of the major sources of land pollution. Even if the various measures to random land that is has been covered into the dry barren land once is taken, it can never be made fertilized again. Okay, this is a ampes and land immensely. Also, there is a concentrated wasteland, unused available land over the years, thus the barren. The land can be connected, be a use. So, such of more land, putted the land hunted, and it's in direction state of compositions with. Then the fertilizer agriculture practices in the most of the developing countries, including the rate of soil erosion of due to deforestation and fault agriculture practices. This has the degraded land to a large scale of become the fertility topsoil of the west out. And furthermore, the growing human population demand for food increasing considerable. Farmers offering use high toxic fertilizer prescribed to get rid of the insect. Okay. Then the mining activities. During the extraction of the mining activities, several land specs the create the breathing of the surface. Then the overcrowded landfills. Each household product tons of the garbage like aluminium, plastic, paper, cloth, wood. Each year these are the call and the send of the local recycling unit. But it is but if it cannot be recycled become a part of landfill. This causes land pollution. Land pollution by the biological agent. Okay, the extract of the birds, animals, human and sources of land pollution by biological agents, sewage use the manners causes of land pollution. Then the acid rain. Acid rain increase the acidic soil of the injuries of the plant grows. Industrialization also due to increase of the dimension of the flood, shelter and houses, more goods are product. This is the result of creation of more waste that needs be and dispose of to meet the demands of the growing population. More industries were developed which led the deforestation resources develop prevent the way of the modern fertilization chemical with the higher toxicity and led to the soil containment. So nuclear waste. So nuclear waste power plants are responsible for the protecting the redirector waste. Nuclear plants were product a huge amount of energy through the nuclear fashion on a fashion of the lifewood and reduced material. This material contain the harmful and toxic chemical that can be affected human health. These are the dump, bath and the eat either to avoid the casualty. These are the harmful for the soil. Then the construction activities. Due to urbanization, large amount of construction activities are taking place which is result in a large waste article like the wood material, bricks, plastic that can be seen naked eyes outside and building or official which is under construction. Then the sewage treatment. A large amount of the solid waste in the land for once the sewage has been treated and material is sent to landform site which end up populating the environment. So effect of land pollution, that is the soil pollution. Soil pollution is another form of land pollution, in which we can upper layer of a soil is a demigrated. This is the causes by the ore causes and chemical fertilizer along with the various other parts, control measures and running waters. Then the changes of climate pattern. The effect of land pollution are very hazards can be land to over ecosystem, environmental impact. Due to deforestation, there is a loss of tree covered. This lands to the tree imbalance in the rain cycle. It is a distributed rain cycle affects a lot of such reduction of the green covers. This agent leads the problems like global warming, greenhouse effect, and imbalance like irrigated rainfall and flash flood. All these have the share of the effect of human health. Then causes of air pollution. As a result of rapid urbanization, landfills through the city keeping on a growth, also growing. This leads the increase the waste which become the home for rodents, mice, etc. These are turn transmit diseases. This waste is a later burned and leads to air pollution. So effect of wildlife. The animals kingdoms comes across the serious threats when there is a loss of habits and natural environment. Contagious human activities on the lead evil level in a pollution force several spatial to the more further, always from the origin regions and adapted new ones. So then the other issues like increasing the temperature, unseasonal where the activities, acid rain, etc. also have a adverse effect and discharge of chemical or land mixed. It is dangerous for the ecosystem. These chemical are consumed by the animals and plants. So measures of the land pollution. So disappearing the harmony of the land and disappearing the habitats of the several creatures and the survival under the land. Hence the survival create a heavy reach and engage the state. The Gliberians Potron in Australia is an example following measures which may be less than land use. So we should make a people aware about the concept of reduce, recycling, reuse. We must reduce our pesticide and fertilizer agriculture activities. All of us should be avoid the buying the packages items. This will be end up their journey to garbage as well as the landfill side. We must also ensure that do not little and ground issue to people disposable garbage. So next one is a noise pollution. The concept of noise pollution is a harmful level of a noise. It is actually forms of level and environment sound of general even destroyed or even harm all the people. All noise is physically from the pollution. It is not a direct harmful of life supporting the system such as the air, soil, water. It affect more direct on the receiver, that is a man. So the unwanted sound released into the environment disturb the human beings causes in a adverse effect on the mental and psychological well-beings of them. The noise which is more than 115 decibel in a tolerance according to the World Health Organization and the industrial limit of a sound, and industrial must be 75 decibel noise pollution in the result of modern industrialization, urban life and congress due to over pollution. Types of noise pollution. The traffic which will be think noise pollution will be usually think of environment sources of noise, car, buses, truck, plants, laws, movers, then snow blowers and construction noise. Causes of noise pollution. Major causes of noise pollution are as follows. that is industrial sources. With the advancement of the technology and industrial noise has polluted our environment. Textiles mills, printing press, engineering establishment, and metal works, etc., contributed heavily towards the noise pollution. Industry cities like Kolkata, Ludhiana, Kanpur, etc., experience and the bad effects of the noise pollution. This is mostly become often the industrial zone are not a spread from the residential zone for our city. Especially the small scale industries are found operating from the workshop situated on the ground floor of the residential area. That noise that is a invisible product causes anyone discomfort and irrigation into the resident whole export to it. So the transport causes of the noise pollution predominantly encompass the noise of traffic, rails and aircraft. The automobile revolution is an urban setting has provided to being a source of a noise pollution. So the increasing of number of automobiles on the roads have given the rise of traffic jam and congested the area, while the repeating the hooting of the horns by implication the diverse further experience. The problem transport noise intensity is the most residential place. A neighbor towards the always high become of a widespread vehicle noise pollution. Have a so then the household is a residential area and acceptable level of the household noise for the one person may be unacceptable to another. There is unacceptable also depend on the time of day and the nature of the noise. Gadget like the food mixer, grinder, vacuum cleaner, washing machine and dryer, cooler, air condition can be very noise and injurious to the health. Public address system. In the India, the loudspeaker for the regional function, birth, death, marriage, election, so are many judged as a commercial advertising. Hence, the public system plays a significant role of the one way towards the noise pollution. Agriculture mechanism with uh, with the introduction of the tractors and with heavy tube wells, powered tiles, etc. Agriculture has become the higher mechanical but similarly extremely noise. Noise level up to 90 decibel to 98 decibel during the running of the farm mechanism have been recorded in the state of Punjab. Defense equipment. A lot of noise pollution is added in the atmosphere by the airtill tanks launching the rockets, exploring the existing the military aeroplanes and shooting the particular skin jet engine and sonic bombs. So miscellaneous sources. So construction work based on a stone crossing the bulldozing, winding automobile repair activities, grazing. So one of the another sources of the noise pollution. Impact of noise pollution. So noise has a negative consequences on human health and behavior. Unwanted the sound of the damages and psychologically and psychology health in the study, and it was found the construction work suffer to having the deficiency causes by the noise, which is one of the most important occupational diseases. So advisory effect of noise pollution are as follows. In interface with the speech, noise as a problem especially for the patient who need the rest, means the Portugland and explores in the noise result is a several advantage effect like the sleep disturbance, so stress, tension and depression, risk, heart diseases. These are the impact of noise leads the emotion and behavior trace. Okay. So a person may be feel disturbed and a presence of the loud noise such as the procedure being hitting of the dim noise may be performed damage hitting. Sudden loud noise can be cause several damages to the ender. Some other diseases noise increase the chances to occurring the diseases such as the handshakes, blood pressure, heart failure, etc. Noise lead the increase the heartbeats, construction of the blood vessel and delimit of the people. The problem facts by the marine animal for a noise pollution. Many the wildlife also affect on many problems for noise pollution. Wildlife also affects maybe problem from the noise pollution since they are more depend on the sound. Animal develop a better sense of hearing them. The human beings since have survival depend on it. Domestic animal react more aggressive in the household where there is an construct noise. Measures of the noise pollution. So noise pollution can be effective control by taking the following measures. The control of receive rate. Then people engage listening noise equipment. Most of the provide air product aids like air plug, air head hamless headphones to restrict the occupying. Then the supply shun the noise of sources. So these are the actuable only if working methods are improved. These the methods started that designing the vibrating and using the quality mechanical replacing noise once is an important matter. Proper lubricants and better maintenance of the mechanism will be reduce the noise. So there are so many causes to reduce the noise. Okay. Then acrossing the zone, distance between the sources receiving the most of increase by the zoning the noise industries area, bus terminus and railway station. So away from the residential area by the noise pollution may be land. The sound in the sound insulation at the construction stage. Sound travels throughout the creaks that be present between the door well. So during the construction, if any gap is left between them, the spell must be peak and sound absorbing the material for the reduced noise. Then the planning of the trees. The planning of the green trees and shape along the roads, hospital, education institute, etc. help the noise reduction to the construction episode. The linguistic measures, then the turn of the application of the at the home and official applicants. So these are the main measures of the noise pollution. And the last summary, the life is ultimately about the choices, and so is the pollution. Our environment is a complex, variable and extensive system. Hence the proceeding and environment is a hard and entering the task. Much of the being done to control the monitor and rectify the damages done by the pollutants. The problem are diverse and some and others being recognized. So it is very important to keep a close control over the pollution so that we can maintain the environment in an acceptable conditions for the further generation. So we can live without a civic stream, beaches, dead rivers and fresh, that the two position to eat, or we can work together to keep the environment clean, so the planet's animal and people who depend on the remain held by educating and citizenization, making them away in environmental protection, consumption, motivation, and communicating the habits. We may hope the breathe fresh air, taste clean drinking water, and experience a comfortable in a natural environment. So thank you for this, for listening. Thank you very much.